The Bible and the secret to staying young. Shocking truth behind the debate. Have you ever had someone stop you in disbelief, questioning your real age? Maybe they guessed you were years, even a decade, younger than you actually are. At first, it feels like a compliment, but what if I told you that looking younger isn't just about good genetics or a great skincare routine? There's something deeper at play, something hidden in the way you think, the choices you make, and the mindset you carry through life. People who seem to defy aging often share distinct psychological traits that set them apart. Today, we're going to uncover what they are and how you too can harness these secrets to maintain a youthful presence, inside and out. But here's the twist. Just as individuals can retain their youthfulness by holding on to the right mindset, societies also preserve their strength by maintaining their core values. And right now in the United States, there's a growing debate over whether one of the oldest sources of wisdom, the Bible, should be brought back into public schools. Across different states, lawmakers and educators are clashing over whether teaching biblical principles can restore a sense of morality and discipline in younger generations, or whether it crosses the line between religion and public education. Some argue that bringing the Bible back into classrooms is crucial for preserving traditional values, much like keeping a strong mindset is essential for staying youthful. Others believe education should evolve with modern ideals, just as people must adapt to the changing times to maintain vitality. So as we explore the psychological habits that keep people looking and feeling young, we'll also take a closer look at this national conversation. Because just like aging, societies also face a choice: hold on to what's valuable from the past or embrace the unknown future. The real question is, can we do both? If you're interested in uncovering these timeless secrets, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Bible Pathways. We dive deep into the wisdom of the Bible and how it still shapes our world today. Let's get started. Some people seem to carry an unshakable strength, no matter what life throws their way. They endure heartbreak, betrayal, financial struggles, and devastating losses. Yet when you look at them, you'd never guess the battles they've fought. Their secret: an unbreakable spirit. It's not just about staying positive, it's about resilience, the ability to withstand life's harshest storms without letting them leave permanent scars. These individuals don't let hardships define them. Instead, they rise stronger, wiser, and more determined. Think of the story of Job in the Bible, a man who had everything: wealth, family, and health, only to lose it all in an instant. His body was covered in painful sores. His friends turned against him. Even his wife told him to give up. Yet through all his suffering, Job never lost his faith. He wrestled with doubt and despair, but he never abandoned hope. And in the end, his resilience was rewarded. His life was restored and his blessings were doubled. Job's story is more than just an ancient tale. It's a testament to the power of perseverance. His unwavering faith and ability to endure suffering have inspired generations to push through their own hardships, knowing that even the darkest times don't last forever. Today, in modern America, there's an ongoing debate about whether stories like Job's should be taught in public schools. Supporters argue that biblical teachings offer timeless lessons in resilience, patience, and inner strength, qualities that many feel are lacking in today's younger generations. They believe that exposing students to these stories can help them build character, just as learning about historical leaders or philosophical principles does. But others worry that bringing the Bible into the classroom crosses a line between education and religion. They argue that schools should remain neutral spaces where students can form their own beliefs without religious influence. It's a heated discussion that raises important questions. Should traditional wisdom be preserved as a foundation for moral education, or should schools focus on modern values and leave religious teachings to personal choice? Regardless of where you stand on the issue, one thing is clear: resilience is a trait that can shape the course of a person's life. Whether it comes from faith, personal experience, or lessons passed down through generations, the ability to endure hardships without losing yourself is what sets strong individuals apart. So what's your take? Do you think stories like Job's should be part of school education? Or should character development come from other sources? Let me know in the comments, and if you're finding this discussion thought-provoking. Your mind has more control over your body than you might think. Stress, anxiety, and emotional burdens don't just live in your thoughts. They manifest in your skin, your posture, and even in the way you carry yourself. Look around and you'll see it. Some people seem to age overnight, their faces lined with worry, their energy drained. More often than not, they're the ones who allow stress to consume them. They dwell on their failures, hold on to grudges, and live in a constant state of worry. This mental state forces the body into survival mode, triggering a cascade of stress hormones, particularly cortisol. And cortisol is a silent thief. It robs the skin of its elasticity, dulls the complexion, and speeds up aging from the inside out. It doesn't just make you look older, it makes you feel older too. But then there are those who refuse to let stress dictate their lives. No matter what happens, they get back up. They take the blows, but they don't let the bruises remain. Instead of being consumed by negativity, they master their emotions, and as a result, they radiate an undeniable energy. Their skin remains vibrant, their eyes stay full of life, and their presence commands attention. The ability to control emotions isn't just about maintaining youth. It's about resilience. It's about knowing when to fight and when to let go, when to stand firm and when to adapt. And in today's world, this lesson is more relevant than ever. Take, for example, the heated debate over Bible education in US schools. On one side, supporters argue that teaching biblical principles can help restore morality and discipline in younger generations. On the other, opponents believe it blurs the line between church and state. Both sides feel strongly, and emotions are running high. But here's the question. Is all this passion leading to meaningful dialogue, or is it clouding the real discussion? Because, just like stress can age a person, constant conflict can wear down a society. When people let emotions override logic, they lose sight of the bigger picture. The Bible itself teaches patience, wisdom, and self-control. So wouldn't it be ironic if a debate over its teachings became fueled by anger instead of understanding? So let's take a step back. Whether in personal life or national conversations, mastering emotions is key. It determines whether we crumble under pressure or rise above it, whether we let stress consume us or learn to let go. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you think emotional resilience is something that should be taught in schools, or is it something that people must learn on their own? Drop a comment below, and if you're enjoying this discussion, change is inevitable. It happens whether we welcome it or not. But here's the secret. How we respond to change determines not only how we feel, but how we age. You've likely met people who seem untouched by time. Despite their years, they have an energy, an openness, a curiosity that makes them appear younger than they really are. They don't cling to the past, they don't resist what's new. Instead, they embrace life with an adventurous spirit, always willing to adapt, to learn, to evolve. Then there are those who seem worn down by life. Their faces carry the weight of regret. Their posture stiffens, their minds become rigid, and they resist anything that challenges their sense of normalcy. They live in cycles of frustration, unable to let go of how things used to be. And that resistance? It doesn't just affect their outlook, it manifests in their appearance, their health, and even their longevity. The Bible speaks to this wisdom in Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. True wisdom isn't just about knowledge, it's about adaptability. It's about understanding that life is constantly moving, and that those who stay flexible, who stay open, who continue learning, remain youthful, not just in body, but in spirit. This idea of embracing change isn't just personal, it's a conversation happening right now across the United States, particularly in education. One of the biggest debates today is whether the Bible should be brought back into public schools. Some believe education should remain neutral, that schools should reflect a changing world. Others argue that reintroducing biblical teachings is a way to restore moral values, to bring back principles that have guided generations before us. It's a modern dilemma that echoes the struggle between resisting change and embracing it. On one side, opponents worry that blending religion with public education is a step backward. They argue that society has moved past a time when religion shaped education, and they fear that reintroducing the Bible might alienate students from different backgrounds. To them, progress means leaving religious teachings out of schools and focusing on a secular, inclusive approach. On the other side, supporters believe that removing biblical principles has left a void, one that has contributed to moral decline, increased division, and a loss of foundational values. They see this as less about pushing religion and more about preserving wisdom, much like studying ancient philosophy or historical texts. For them, bringing back the Bible is about restoring something that never should have been lost. So here's the big question. Should we hold on to the past or move forward without it? Or maybe, just maybe, there's a way to do both. Just as individuals must adapt to stay youthful, societies must find a way to balance tradition with progress. The past holds valuable lessons, but it's our willingness to learn and grow that keeps us thriving. And that's true in every aspect of life. Those who age well are the ones who never stop learning, who never stop growing. They say yes to new experiences. They stay engaged, socially and intellectually. They try new things outside of their comfort zone. Science backs this up. Studies show that people who continue learning, who remain curious, who embrace life with openness, maintain sharper minds and healthier bodies. That's why some people seem to glow with life no matter their age. They don't carry the stiffness of resistance. They radiate energy because they choose to see life as an ongoing adventure. So if you ever wonder why some people look much older than they are, while others seem to defy time, look at their attitude toward change. Those who resist it age faster, inside and out. But those who flow with life, who see every twist and turn as an opportunity to grow, remain youthful in every sense of the word. Aging isn't just about the passing of years. It's about how you respond to the changes that come with them. So now let me ask you, where do you stand in this debate? Do you believe embracing change means letting go of the past, or do you think there's a way to honor tradition while moving forward? Let's discuss it in the comments. Have you ever met someone whose energy is so vibrant, so alive, that they seem untouched by time? They could be 50, 60, even 70, yet they have the spark of someone half their age. They don't just go through the motions, they engage with life. They ask questions, they stay curious. Most people assume youthfulness is only about how you look, but that's a lie. True youth starts in the mind. The moment you stop being curious, stop asking questions, stop learning, you start aging in ways no anti-aging cream can fix. A dull mind leads to a dull body. People who settle into routine, who stop exploring, who stop growing, slowly lose the energy that once made them shine. You can see it in their posture, in their tired eyes, in the way they speak. They aren't living, they're simply existing. Now contrast that with someone who is endlessly curious. These are the people who never stop learning, who always want to know more about the world, about people, about themselves. They pick up new hobbies, they ask deep questions, they challenge their own beliefs. They see life as an adventure rather than a burden. Their minds stay sharp, and as a result their bodies follow. Science backs this up. Mental stimulation keeps the brain active, reducing cognitive decline and even slowing down the aging process. But curiosity does more than just keep your mind fresh. It changes your entire energy. Have you ever noticed that people with youthful curiosity have a certain glow? Their eyes are brighter, their expressions more animated. They carry an aura of excitement. They don't see life as something slipping away, they see it as something to be discovered. And that mentality alone is reflected in their physical appearance. The Bible provides a perfect example of this in King Solomon, one of the wisest men who ever lived. He didn't just accept the world as it was, he sought wisdom. He asked questions. He studied. He learned. In Proverbs 4:7 he said, "Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting get understanding." Solomon understood a simple truth. A mind that stops seeking knowledge is a mind that begins to wither. And today, curiosity isn't just a personal virtue. It's at the heart of one of the biggest debates in America. Should the Bible be brought back into public schools? At its core, this debate isn't just about religion. It's about history, ethics, values, the principles that shape American society. Those in favor argue that students should be exposed to the Bible not just as a religious text but as a foundational piece of literature that has influenced law, philosophy, and morality for centuries. They believe removing it has left a gap in education, a missing piece in understanding the past. On the other hand, opponents argue that education should be secular, that teaching the Bible in public schools blurs the line between church and state. They fear that introducing religious teachings into public education could lead to exclusion or even division among students from different backgrounds. But here's the real question: should education evolve by leaving certain teachings behind? Or should it remain open to the wisdom of the past? Just like a youthful mind stays open to new ideas, a thriving society must stay open to discussion. The moment we stop questioning, stop exploring perspectives, stop seeking wisdom, we stop growing. And if we stop growing, we start aging. Not just as individuals, but as a culture. So if people often tell you that you look younger than your age, take a moment to think. Are you someone who stays curious? Do you find joy in learning new things? Do you challenge yourself to grow rather than just going through the motions? Because the truth is, youth isn't about the years you've lived. It's about the fire in your mind. Keep that fire alive, and time will never truly catch up with you. And now I want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe that keeping curiosity alive is the key to staying young? And when it comes to education, do you think students should be encouraged to explore the wisdom of the Bible, even in a secular setting? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever noticed how some people seem weighed down by life? Their eyes are tired, their expressions hardened, and their presence feels heavy, as if the world has taken its toll on them. They don't have to say a word, you can see it on their faces. They carry years of unspoken pain, bottled up frustrations, and suppressed emotions that slowly drain their energy and vitality. Now compare that to someone who looks effortlessly young. Their face is lighter, their eyes brighter, and there's a softness in the way they move through the world. They don't just look younger, they feel younger. The difference? Emotional expression. Emotions aren't meant to be locked away. When you suppress your feelings, whether it's sadness, anger, frustration, or even joy, you create tension that your body absorbs. It builds up like poison, increasing stress levels, tightening muscles, and even physically altering your appearance. Studies show that chronic emotional suppression raises cortisol levels, the stress hormone responsible for wrinkles, dull skin, and even weakened immunity. Think about someone who never allows themselves to fully laugh, cry, or speak their truth. Over time, this emotional stagnation takes a toll. Their body tenses up, their posture stiffens, and their face begins to reflect the stress they've refused to release. They look older, not because of genetics, but because of the emotional burden they carry. Now look at those who age gracefully. What do they have in common? They allow themselves to feel. When they're happy, they laugh without restraint. When they're sad, they don't pretend. They cry, they talk, they release. They are emotionally honest, and this honesty keeps them youthful. Their faces don't carry the weight of years of unspoken words or buried pain. Instead, they remain expressive, vibrant, and full of life. This isn't just speculation. Science confirms it. Cultures that encourage open emotional expression tend to have people who appear younger and live longer. Emotional release isn't just good for mental health. It's an anti-aging tool that no expensive product can replace. Studies show that people who openly express their emotions have lower levels of stress and better overall health, both physically and mentally. But here's the thing. This doesn't just apply to individuals. It applies to entire societies, right? Now in the United States, emotions are running high in the debate over religious education in public schools. On both sides, there are strong convictions. Supporters believe that bringing the Bible back into classrooms is essential for restoring moral values, while opponents argue that it crosses the line between church and state. But here's the question: are emotions clouding the real conversation? Because just like suppressed emotions can harm an individual, an unwillingness to have open, honest dialogue can harm a society. When people are too afraid to express their true thoughts or too angry to Listen, meaningful progress becomes impossible. And yet, if history has taught us anything, it's that suppressing conversation never solves a problem. It only deepens division. The Bible itself teaches the importance of expressing emotions and seeking wisdom. Take Ecclesiastes 3:4, which reminds us that there is a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. This isn't just poetic language, it's a truth about life. Suppressing emotions doesn't make them disappear. It only pushes them deeper until they manifest in other ways, whether in our health, our relationships, or even in the conflicts we see in society today. So whether in personal health or in public discourse, the lesson remains the same. When emotions are expressed freely and constructively, they lead to clarity, healing, and growth. So let me ask you, do you think society today encourages honest emotional expression, or are people more afraid than ever to speak their truth? And when it comes to debates like Bible education, do you think people are having real conversations, or are emotions getting in the way? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this discussion insightful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Bible Pathways for more thought-provoking content that connects ancient wisdom with modern life. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the energy shift? Maybe the atmosphere was heavy, almost draining, as if something invisible was weighing down the space. Or perhaps you've spent time with someone who, after just a few minutes, left you feeling exhausted. That's because energy, whether positive or negative, is contagious. The people we surround ourselves with don't just influence our thoughts and emotions. They impact our physical well-being, our resilience, and even how we age. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, whether it's through people who complain, criticize, or radiate pessimism, it takes a toll. Stress levels rise, the body tenses. Over time, that weight settles into your posture, your expressions, and even your health. You've probably seen it in people who seem far older than they are. Tired eyes, deep frown lines, an overall heaviness in their presence. But then, there are those who defy time. No matter their age, they carry a lightness and effortless youthfulness that radiates from within. Their secret. They are intentional about their environment. They surround themselves with positivity. They spend time with people who uplift them, who inspire them, who bring laughter instead of complaints. They understand that negativity is a slow poison, and they refuse to let it seep into their lives. Science backs this up. Studies show that positive social interactions reduce stress hormones, strengthen the immune system, and even slow down the aging process at a cellular level. Ever wonder why some people glow with youth despite their years? It's not just skincare or genetics, it's the company they keep. The Bible speaks directly to this idea in Psalm 1:1-3. Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. In other words, the people you allow into your life can either nourish you or drain you. The right influences can strengthen you, while the wrong ones can rob you of joy, peace, and even health. But this principle doesn't just apply to individuals, it applies to society as a whole. Right now in the United States, one of the most debated issues is whether the Bible should be brought back into public school education. Supporters believe that teaching biblical principles can reinforce moral values and cultivate a more positive, disciplined, and ethically grounded generation. They argue that the removal of spiritual teachings has contributed to a decline in societal values. Much like removing good influences from one's personal life can lead to negativity and disorder. On the other hand, opponents argue that reintroducing the Bible into public schools is a violation of religious freedom. They believe education should remain secular, allowing individuals to form their own moral foundations without religious influence. It's a debate that mirrors the same question we face in our personal lives. What influences are we allowing into our space? Are we shaping an environment that nurtures strength, wisdom, and positivity? Or are we allowing negativity to take root? Because just like a person's mindset affects their health and aging, a society's mindset affects its future. So take a look at your life. Are the people around you filling you with life or draining it from you? Are you surrounded by encouragement and inspiration, or by stress and negativity? The good news is you have the power to choose. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think teaching the Bible in schools could contribute to a more positive, morally strong generation? Or do you think education should remain separate from religious teachings? Let's continue the conversation in the comments. Have you ever looked at someone and thought they look tired of life? Their face lacks expression, their posture is heavy, and their energy seems drained, as if they're merely existing, waiting for time to pass. Now, contrast that with someone who radiates life. Someone whose eyes light up when they talk about their dreams. Someone whose presence feels electric, as if they have an inner fire that nothing can extinguish. What's the difference? Passion, purpose. People who lack passion often appear older than their years. When life feels empty, when there's nothing exciting on the horizon, it shows. The human body reacts to emotional stagnation just as much as it reacts to physical inactivity. When you're disconnected from your purpose, your mind dulls, your spirit dims, and your body follows. The result? A face that looks tired, aged, uninspired. But then, there are those who glow with youthful energy, no matter their age. They don't wake up dreading the day. They wake up driven, excited, ready to create, build, and experience. This passion fuels them from the inside, and it reflects outward. You can see it in their expressions, in the way they move, in how they carry themselves with enthusiasm and vitality. And science backs this up. Studies show that having a sense of purpose reduces stress, lowers inflammation, and even extends lifespan. When you're actively pursuing something that excites you, whether it's a career, a hobby, or a personal mission, your brain produces more dopamine and serotonin. These are the very chemicals responsible for happiness and youthful energy. They keep your skin glowing, your body active, and your spirit alive. One of the greatest biblical examples of this is Paul the Apostle. He endured extreme hardships, imprisonment, beatings, shipwrecks, and endless persecution. Yet through it all, he remained unwavering in his mission. His purpose wasn't about comfort or success in the worldly sense. It was about spreading the gospel, about something greater than himself. And because of this unshakable drive, he carried an energy that not even suffering could break. In Philippians 3:14, he writes, "I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus." That kind of determination, that kind of passion, it keeps a person young, not just physically but spiritually. But this idea of purpose isn't just an individual matter, it's a societal one as well. Right now, one of the biggest discussions in America is whether incorporating biblical teachings into public education can help restore a sense of purpose and moral grounding in younger generations. Some lawmakers and educators believe that teaching traditional values through the Bible provides students with a stronger foundation, one that encourages integrity, perseverance, and responsibility. They argue that much like having personal purpose fuels an individual, instilling biblical wisdom can give students a greater sense of meaning and direction. Others, however, believe that public education should remain entirely secular. They argue that morality and purpose should be left to individual choice rather than being influenced by religious teachings in a school setting. To them, the inclusion of the Bible in classrooms is a step backward rather than forward. This raises an important question. Should purpose be something that's taught? Or is it something each person must find on their own? Because whether we're talking about individuals or entire societies, one truth remains. When people lack purpose, they stagnate, they lose direction, they start going through the motions rather than truly living. But when people, young or old, find something that drives them, something that makes them wake up with excitement, they carry a different energy. They are engaged, alive. They have something to strive for. And that, more than any anti-aging product, any routine, any external change, is what keeps a person truly youthful. So ask yourself, are you just existing, or are you truly living? And when it comes to education, should schools play a role in shaping a student's sense of moral purpose, Or should that be left to personal exploration? Have you ever met someone who seems weighed down by life, as if they're carrying an invisible burden? Their eyes look distant, their expression is tired, and there's a heaviness in their presence. It's as if they're trapped in memories. They can't escape. Old regrets, unresolved conflicts, and wounds that never healed. The truth is, holding on to past pain doesn't just affect your mind, it physically changes you. Stress, resentment, and guilt increase cortisol levels, leading to inflammation, premature aging, and even illness. Studies show that people who dwell on negativity often look older than their years. Their bodies tense up, their faces harden, and they carry an air of exhaustion, as if life itself has drained them. But then there are those who seem effortlessly youthful. No matter their age, they radiate a certain lightness, a sense of peace. Their secret? They don't let the past define them. Instead of clinging to regret, they choose growth. Instead of holding on to bitterness, they choose to forgive. One of the most powerful biblical examples of this is Joseph. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned. He had every reason to hold on to resentment. But instead of letting bitterness consume him, he chose forgiveness. And because of that choice, he rose to a position of power in Egypt, ultimately saving the very brothers who had once betrayed him. Imagine if Joseph had spent his life dwelling on the past. Imagine if he had let anger and bitterness define him. He wouldn't have fulfilled his purpose. He wouldn't have stepped into his destiny. Instead, by releasing the weight of resentment, he freed himself, not just spiritually, but emotionally and even physically. Science confirms what Joseph's story teaches us. Letting go of past pain isn't just good for the soul. It's good for the body. Studies show that people who practice forgiveness and mindfulness have lower stress levels, better immune function, and even longer lifespans. When you release old grudges, your body follows suit. Tension dissolves, energy returns, and you begin to carry yourself differently. But this idea of letting go doesn't just apply to individuals, it applies to entire societies. Right now, one of the most heated debates in America is over whether the Bible should be brought back into public school education. Supporters believe that teaching biblical principles could help restore moral values and offer students a stronger foundation for life. Opponents argue that it's a violation of religious freedom, believing education should remain secular. But here's the real question. Can both sides find common ground instead of constant opposition? Because just like individuals who hold on to the past suffer under its weight, societies that refuse to move forward get stuck in endless cycles of conflict. Holding on to past divisions, refusing to listen, allowing resentment to fester. These things don't just slow down progress, they erode the fabric of unity. The debate over religious education is a reflection of a deeper struggle, the struggle between preserving traditions and adapting to modern values. And just like in personal life, the key isn't choosing one extreme over the other. It's finding a balance. In the same way that releasing past burdens leads to inner peace, societies that learn to have open discussions where different perspectives can coexist without hostility create a healthier, more united future. So ask yourself, what are you still holding on to? Is it an old grudge, a past mistake, a resentment that's been weighing you down? Because whatever it is, it's not just hurting your soul, it's aging you. The moment you decide to let go, to stop carrying what no longer serves you, you'll feel something incredible, lighter, freer, younger. And when it comes to the larger issues in society, like the role of religion in education, could the same principle apply? Instead of clinging to division, could we find a way to move forward, to listen, to learn from one another? So what's the real secret to staying youthful? It's not just about skincare routines or genetics, it's about the choices you make every day. An unbreakable spirit, emotional mastery, curiosity, surrounding yourself with positive energy, living with purpose, and letting go of the past. These are the habits that truly keep you young. When you embrace resilience, you don't let life's hardships define you. When you master your emotions, you free yourself from stress and negativity. When you stay curious, your mind remains sharp and engaged. When you surround yourself with positive influences, you protect your mental and emotional well-being. When You live with purpose. You wake up each day with excitement. And when you release past burdens, you create space for growth, joy, and renewal. These principles don't just apply to individuals, they apply to society as a whole. Right now, the debate over Bible education in public schools is shaping conversations about tradition, morality, and the values that should guide future generations. Some believe that bringing the Bible back into education will strengthen moral foundations, while others argue that schools should remain secular. But the bigger question is, can we find common ground? Can we create a dialogue that isn't just about opposition but about understanding? What do you think? Should the Bible be part of public education? Could it help build a stronger, more values-driven generation? Or should schools remain completely separate from religious teachings? Let's continue the conversation in the comments. And if you found this discussion thought-provoking, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Bible Pathways for more deep dives into faith, wisdom, and the world we live in today. See you in the next video.